goodness, welcome back. Someone in my Discord asked about a budget version of Maliss, and I got to thinking and was like, how much does my Maliss deck even cost? What would be a budget version, and can I make a deck for under $100? And I am proud to report that my deck definitely costs more than $100, ignoring the rarity upgrades I have. I did figure out how to make a Maliss deck for under $100, and I think I can even tweak it so it's under $50. So if you are looking to get into Maliss in the big 26, which I highly recommend, here's some options for you for different levels of budgets. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the deck list. Okay, so this right here is my current Maliss build. I do think I actually want to change this and somehow incorporate Droll, because Droll's really good this format. I think instead of the ghost spells, I'd put Droll. Anyway, this is my current build. So what I did to do this is I made the decks in Dueling Book, and then I went to Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck Builder, and I imported the file, and it just shows like TCG market price for it. So I do want to point out that I am a rarity goblin. You can take this much further by max raritying your stuff out. So at the lowest rarity, this deck list, which includes basically the most expensive stuff in this deck list, is going to be 3 impulses and 3 sparks. Okay, that's honestly where so much of the money is going. TCG player, $287. But that's what I want to point out. So much of this cost for my like current deck list is coming from those 6 cards. Each impulse right now is going for about $5 on TCG players. That's $15. And each spark is going for around 60. So that's 180 plus 15, 195. So basically, the reason I'm telling you this is if we remove these 6 cards, you are now at a main deck price of $90 and an extra deck price of $10. So if you're trying to play Maliss like as close to what you see in the meta as possible, it's those 6 cards. And you can pick and choose if you want to put in Impulse. That's $15. And then those other 3 spots could be for hand traps. You could put in another. So let's say if we did this with the 3 purges, and then you could put in another ghost spell and then 2 drolls, and you're pretty close. You're pretty solid. So the point is currently Maliss as it stands is not a very expensive deck, in my opinion. You can definitely play it for under $100. Most of the main deck cards are going for $2, cents, March hares. March hares are currently sitting at about $18 a copy. So if you are interested in the OG deck list, here it is. Again, let's go ahead and let's take out the sparks, and let's see what the cost would be if we did 2 drolls and another bell. Okay, so let's go ahead and say we want to spend a little bit of money. Let's go ahead and keep the imperms in. Let's export. So the way I'm doing this is a YDK file, exporting it, and then go to Deck Builder, import from YDK file. So we are looking at a total price of $106. So main deck at $96, extra deck at $9. Keep in mind, this is not including shipping. This also isn't including if you have shops you can go to, and if you can try to like wheel and deal and not have to pay for shipping. So this is another version. The most expensive version you're going to find is going to include 3 sparks. Take out the sparks, and we went down $180. So anyway, let me go ahead and show you the budget deck. Well, not fully budget, because I do think I can cut it down even more. So here is the budget Maliss deck. Before I talk through it, I do want to show you the price. Total price, $75. So this is under 100. Though I will say, if you can go a little over 100, you can play with the 3 impulses. I want to see if I can get this under 50. We're going to work on that together to see if I can get this under 50. But yeah, this is a $75 Maliss deck. I realize that might not be budget for everyone. Okay, I get that. But it's definitely less than the 297 build. Okay, so walking you through this, some areas of saving money was there's no impulses, there's no sparks, and I cut down to 2 hares. Now, at one point, I was genuinely only playing 2 hares in the deck. So the meat of Maliss is still here. We have 3 Chessy Cats, 1 Dormouse, 2 hares. There's people who are playing 2 hares, like going to tournaments. I think Rico, who is a well-known Maliss player, makes YouTube content about it, was on a YCS like feature match. Pretty sure, I think they're only playing 2 hares. So this isn't that crazy. 1 White Rabbit, 2 Maliss Undergrounds, Malice in the Mirror, 3 backup Adignisters, and a Wizard. So where I made some changes was including GWC. When I first started playing Maliss, I was playing GWC. Most lists you find are not going to play GWC. It's not a bad card, and I actually did like it because of how it interacts with Malice and Underground. So GWC has the same thing. You can activate this card. The turn it was set by banishing 1 face-up Malice monster you control. Special summon 1 of your Malice monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Then if you control a Malice Link monster, you gain life points. Honestly, this might be making a reoccurrence, especially with just needing to have, I feel like, more grind game for Maliss, because now, depending on what your hand is, but this is gonna, even if you open on GWC and you set it, it is gonna allow you to summon if you have any Malice monsters in your graveyard or banish. So let's say you tried to do combo and stuff gets messed up. You could use GWC. I also included 2 MTPs. This is something that I have considered even just doing in my deck list. It's great because it has the ability, it is once per turn, but you get to add a Malice monster from deck to hand, and then if you control Malice Link, you can banish a card on the field, and then still 1 TB11. This works with Underground, because with Underground, how do I read it without... Can I go here? I need to scroll. Okay. This says that while 3 or more of your Malice traps with different names are banished, Malice Link monsters you control gain 3,000 attack. And you can banish your Malice traps in order to summon Hare, because you can banish 1 other Malice card from your hand or graveyard. So that's the difference with the traps. Still 3 imperms. Still 3 allures, still running Gold Sark. Here is, I did include Signet Mining. This could be replaced with 3 Ghost Spells. This could be replaced with, it could be replaced with hand traps. I'm going to be real with you. I was just trying to think of consistency. Like, I personally don't run Signet Mining because you have to send a card from hand to the graveyard and then you add. So it's a search, but it's a loss. Let's say it's you draw it, right? You get your turn back and you draw a shifter. You already had a turn, so you already have stuff in your graveyard, and it's like the worst top deck you could get because you're like, what am I going to do with this shifter? Let's say you top deck a shifter after already having a turn cycle. You could send it from hand to graveyard to add a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster. So you can add Chessy, Hare, Dormouse, Rabbit, basically any of the Malice names you can add. So there are some like dead cards that it wouldn't be a bad trade-off for. That's also why I included 2 Dotscapers, because if this card is sent to graveyard, you can special summon it. So if you send a Dotscaper off of Signet Mining, it's actually evens itself out because you get the add, and you also will get this summoning back. Another reason Signet Mining, you're not going to see it in a lot of like meta lists. Sending the card from hand to grave is cost. So like Chessy Cat, for example, has you can banish 1 Malice card from your hand, comma, then you can draw 2 cards. That would almost sometimes be better if it was cost, because then you get the banish and summon back. That's not cost. So sometimes you can just use that as like a bait for Ash, because let's say you have a Hare in hand and you kind of don't want to banish the Hare to add it back because you'd rather just like keep it, summon it, and then add it back later. This is a good check for Ash. This is also going to check for Ash. But sending 1 card from your hand to the graveyard is cost, and that is not ideal unless you send something like Dotscaper. I will also say for cost, if you send any of the Malice names, and you have a Hare in hand, that is how you get it back. So let's say you Signet Mining, for cost and you send a dormouse and it gets ashed. Okay, so you have now, they've used their ash for the turn, you've baited it out. Well, you also have a hare in hand. So now you can hare, banish the dormouse, summon the hare, summon the dormouse, full combo. And you know that you're not going to get ashed because you've baited out an ash. So I do think there is some reason to have Signet Mining over another hand trap. It can bait out hand traps. But I would say this is something that could be replaced with something else. It's not an expensive card. If we go to the budget list, it's coming in at 17 cents a copy. So, but that's the thing too, I think with like how much are Ghost Bells going for right now? 49 cents a copy. So it's not like a break the bank difference if you replace these with Ghost Bells. So yeah, there's also Dotscaper. Dotscaper has that if it's sent to graveyard, you can special summon it. If it is banished, you can special summon it. You can only use one Dotscaper effect per turn and only once that turn. So you have to pick. You either have it summoned back after the send to graveyard, you have it summoned back after it's banished. And then 3 ashes, 2 jewels, maining Di-Fi. So when I was making this deck and I'm thinking like, okay, we're not going to be running purges, not purges. Why do I keep calling them purges? Impulses and sparks. We're not going to be running Dominus, Impulse, and Spark. So how do we just make this floodgatey? How do we make sure that your opponent, like if you brick, if you brick on a Di-Fi, that's a pretty good brick. So I do think maining Di-Fi. Di-Fi right now is, let's see, I think 42 cents a copy. So I decided to main Di-Fi because if we are not going to have the powerful non-engine hand traps, then let's go for some powerful non-engine floodgates, right? 1 shifter, necessary. Shifters right now are going for 19 cents. So 1 shifter, figured main called by. Might as well. I mean, that's another one that as a one of you can choose where you're gonna put it. And so yeah, that's the main deck. In terms of the side, the extra, you could. What's the price difference? So on my like original list, it is a $10. It's $1 difference. It's $1 difference. So the differences that I did with the side is that I included Topologic Bomber Dragon in like the budget side because again, I was trying to think of like, okay, let's say they like stop what you're trying to do. How can you basically just like floodgate, make it really hard for them, how can you get as much interaction on the board as possible? And Topologic Bomber Dragon was something I was maining at one point. I also like the other, I like Topologic Blaster Dragon as well. That got used against me though. And ever since then, I haven't. It left a sour taste in my mouth. What ended up happening is because it's a mandatory effect, it was negated. So the effect resolved negated, but my opponent needed to chain to me activating an effect. So they forced the Blaster Dragon to get activated in order to bad things happen. That's like the difference. I also went ahead and put in IP. Again, I was just trying to think of like, if you get stopped, if you need to have like stuff to do on your opponent's turn, IP, Bomber Dragon. I'm pretty sure literally everything else is the same. The only thing was that in my current deck, instead of IP and Bomber Dragon, I have Transcode Talker and Firewall Dragon, which 69 cents and 28 cents versus 21 cents and 7 cents. Like, I think for the side, again, I was just thinking like with the budget build, thinking about maining Di-Fi, thinking about trying to make it like really annoying for your opponent. But again, I want to point out the difference between the budget build and like the build I'm running, and I think a lot of like meta builds are running, it's the Dominus cards. I mean, Dominus Spark is $60 a copy. It's up to you if you want to play that. You again could still run Impulse and then other hand traps. Also, it is a matter of playing 3 hares instead of 2. So on this one, I did take out a hare, which is going to save us $18 versus on this build that doesn't have sparks but does have 3 hares. So what I kind of wanted to do is to see if I can get this under 50. And I'm pretty sure that's going to mean cutting down a hare. So if we look at the budget build, where's the money coming? Because right now the total is 75. So if we cut out a singular hare, that'll take us to 50 something, right? If we go down to one hare, which if you really got to do it, at this point, I would probably say not main called by and do 2 ghost bells. I also see people maining ghost ogre lately, so you could also do 2 ghost ogres. I don't think this is going to get us, let's see how close this gets us, because then I honestly think at this point it's just going to be trying to find, okay, $58. Where's the $8 coming from? What could we cut if we really, really wanted to get a main deck and an extra deck for under $50? Imperms are 56 cents. So we could, those 3 imperms is like $1.50. Where else is any? Oh, the drolls are close to $1. Is it coming from... Oh, Link Spider. Okay, if we take out Link Spider, we're down to $56. We could replace it with Transcode Talker. I don't know if we can get this for under 50. I will say, trying to get, okay, let's put this in perspective. This is 55 cards. So we are already at almost $1 a card. I personally think that's pretty good. If you're trying to get it for under 50, I'm trying to think what else. I mean, we could cut out hair. We'd have to cut out hares entirely. I honestly think, because all of these other things are, okay, backup ad ignisters, $3, $4 a copy. I think it's worth keeping 3. I honestly think the only way we're going to get it under 50 is we cut out hares entirely, which feels bad. I personally would not completely recommend it. Let's go ahead and put back in the called by. And I understand like 50 or $18 a copy for hare. I get that. $36 for just 2 cards. But when you look at the cost of the rest of the deck, that's where like all the money's going. So like if you really, really want to do a budget, and if someone wants to try this deck and let me know if it... $39 if we take out hares. Again, it's kind of picking and choosing where you want to prioritize spending your money. You can get pretty much a functional deck for $40 and then work up and add in 2 hares. So that is another $36, but then, okay, you're pretty close to meta. You are missing Dominus Impulse and Dominus Spark, and you never have to play Dominus Spark. $60 a copy for that card. That's $180. That's the majority of my deck cost is coming from the fact that I am playing Spark. Don't play Spark. There's other hand traps. I will say part of the Maliss staying alive past all the bans is the fact that it does have access to things like Impulse and Spark. That does not mean that you have to play them. Like I said, you could do 3 Ghost Bells, 2 Drolls. You still have a ton of interruptions that you could do. And we also have to remember, too, there's no guarantee you're going to draw the Sparks. It's 3 out of 40. And yes, it banishes, but it's not, if it's your only interruption, it's not the saving grace of the deck. This is not like Maliss is only playable because we have Spark. I would say if you have the money for it, having 2 hares and 3 impulses. Because let's see. Let's go ahead and take out the Sparks again. Let's do at 2 hares, 3 impulses. Let's add in Drolls. We'll add another Ghost Spell, and we can main called by. Okay, export. Let's see what this would cost us. $89. So 90 bucks at 2 hares, 3 impulses, under 100, which again, if you're doing the math at 55 cards, I did not include a side in this. I did not start siding or even care about having a side for probably the first 7 months of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I feel like siding is a skill, and it's something that I would not concern yourself, especially if you're on a budget and you're trying to make a deck. I would not concern yourself. So for about 90 bucks. And you have the Dominus Impulses, which I feel like is pretty good. So yeah, that is my recommendation if you wanted to screenshot it or whatever for some budget Maliss decks. I understand that not everybody has $100 for some people, like that's not a budget deck. Which is also why I would like to point out that Mitsurugi Sky Striker, pure or mixed, is doing well right now. Let's see how. So on TCG Player, and I know I saw that Best Buy had a deal on it, and Best Buy might have another deal on it. Unopened going for 32 bucks, which includes the 3 decks, Sky Striker, Mitsu, and the one no one talks about it because it's not. Is it X Saber? Is that the other one? I honestly don't know what the third one is. I just know that this is how you can get Mitsu, and this is how you can get Sky Striker, and Pure Sky Striker is doing well. Pure Mitsu is doing well. I think you can do Sky Striker Mitsu. Like, I will say this was a really great thing that Konami did in terms of having accessibility to decks, because trying to get a full deck under 50, as you just saw, possible, for it to be competitive, it would be difficult, I think, cutting out all of the hares. I don't recommend it, but you can try it. I mean, it also depends, like, are you just playing very casually, trying to learn, the basics of Yu-Gi-Oh! And like, it doesn't really matter. Like, sure, buy it, try it. And then when you have 18 bucks, buy 1 hare and try it with 1 hare. You know what I mean? Like, it's something you can also build up to. You don't have to have all the cards at once. But yeah, I mean, I hope this was helpful. I can also show you my Fairy Tale Magistus deck, what that costs. And I do think there's ways to, honestly, I think that one might already be kind of budget. Fairy Tale Magistus in itself, I do not think is an expensive deck. So that's another option for something. But yeah, again, if you're trying to play Maliss and you are trying to be budget conscious and you're like, oh, those hares are 18 bucks and the Dominus cards, Dominus Spark, 60 bucks a copy, just a couple options. But yeah, I also recommend the Legendary Modern decks, because that's a great way to get a ton of cards for under 50 bucks, which is amazing. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Again, I do love Maliss. I do highly recommend playing it. I don't know why March Hare is still so expensive. That doesn't make sense to me. Hopefully she'll come down in the near future. The rest of Maliss is pretty cheap. It's honestly just Dominus cards and March Hare. I'm going to go ahead and show you the baby, because instead of picking him up, because he just looks so comfy, cozy in his little squishmallow bed. And I hope everyone has a wonderful, amazing day. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.